Hello, my ladies. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And for today's video, I wanted to talk about how to remain feminine in the most masculine area of your life, in the workplace. So you guys have asked me this question quite a few times, and it's such a really great question. I love answering this question. I've collected a bunch of tips and kind of created a guide for you to help you on your feminine journey while you are still having to be really masculine and be in a work environment. And for some of us, some of our jobs are more masculine than other jobs. If you have a job that is more considered feminine, it would be something like working in a woman's boutique around other women. It would be something such as teaching. It would be something such as being a nanny in a daycare. Those are going to be your more feminine jobs. But for those of you ladies who work in maybe more corporate jobs, in more masculine environments that are much more structured and you have like a lot of rules to follow, it can be a bit tricky to remain in your feminine energy while you are at work. And so this is a practice. It's something that you really have to gain a lot of self-awareness of. And when you fall back into these more masculine habits, I want you to try to catch yourself and snap out of it, okay, with all of these amazing tips that I'm going to give to you today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. How to be feminine at work. So the workplace was created for men in a structured sense. It was built for men. When work was invented, women were not allowed to work. Women decided to, that they wanted to compete with men. Men never wanted to compete with us. It was women who decided that they hated being at home and being conformed to this little box. And so they decided that they wanted to get out there and be independent and show that they could make their own money. And so the workplace was specifically designed appealing to the male psychology. With little to no self-expression, feminine energy is self-expression. Feminine energy allows for the freedom inside of you, the light and color to shine from within you. And it was created around solving problems around the world. So it was created, like I said, appealing to the male psychology. And when we go into the work world, we have to go into the workplace not worrying about anything that is going on in our personal lives or when we will see our family next. If one of our family members are sick, then we have to shove that aside and we have to focus on getting our job done in order to get paid. Masculine energy is validated by being successful and being paid for what he does. And feminine energy is valued in being and who she is. So do you see how those opposite poles, we have to really find that middle balance of integrating the two? So when we go into the workplace, us women, we have to shove all these emotions down. We just shove them down, 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 every single day. From 9 to 5, we're shoving all of our problems and emotions in the bottom of our bodies. And so it gets all pushed down there. And then this is where we carry all of our emotional traumatic issues all down here. So those heart issues, the issues that are going on in the heart, and not being able to be with the family or dealing with issues from, childhood, is going to be pushed down and shoved down and quite literally fall into the bottom of your tummy. And so you hold a lot of excess weight right there. So you need a little bit of weight as a feminine woman on your lower tummy, because that's going to be protecting of your reproductive organs. But having excess weight is extremely unhealthy, and that carries a lot of emotional baggage. Okay, so overeating and just trying to numb the pain of day-to-day life is literally creating all of this emotional weight. I mean, figuratively and physically. Okay, so this is actually really interesting, because being in the workplace, like I said, it becomes habitual to keep shoving those emotions down back at like going from work into home. So you're shoving it down from day to day, and then you like something changes in your brain. And so there's actually a psychology term that is called displacement. And displacement happens when you're pushing all your emotions down throughout the day, and you can't go to your boss about those issues, because your boss is your boss. You have to suck it up and do the job and get the job done anyway. And you can't go to your boss and cry about, what your girlfriend told you yesterday. So you're having to put on a front, put on a smile, rather than talking and venting to your boss about the thing. And you don't want to look crazy to your boss. And so, then you add in stressors from the workday and goals that you haven't met yet in your work job, and then all the demands that work is requiring you to do. So then you go home and you go to your family, say your partner, your children, all of this, and then all of those issues that have been shoved and shoved and shoved away, days adding up, it's all let out on them. And then we go home and we pretend like, it's the socks that they left on the floor. But that's actually not what it is at all. This is called displacement of feelings in psychology terms. So then, your children and your husband, you're intimate with them, that's your family. They love you no matter what. And so you feel that you can be more of your negative, worst self with them. And so we end up carrying all that baggage and stress onto them, simply because our boss told us that we didn't do something right at work. Okay, so are you following me here? So we just end up collecting all of these undealt with triggers, stressors, and then they all kind of get piled up, and then we go home and we pretend like our children left their socks on the floor, and that's what set us off. But in reality, it wasn't that at all. It's just that we felt really safe expressing our discontent with our family at home, because we can't do that in the workplace, because we have to keep our job, right? We have to remain professional, and we can't go crying about our day-to-day stressors and the ups and downs in our hormonal cycle. Okay, so I don't really like women working like really masculine jobs, or if they do, then there has to be a really healthy balance and a lot of practice and self-awareness of maybe working a few times a week in that masculine job when she has a family or a husband back at home, because when we carry that stress and energy home back to our family, and husband is also coming home from a day's worth of work. He's tired, he's done solved problems all day. And your kids, they've been at school, maybe, they've been dealing with their own things and issues all day long. And then you're all collectively coming home at once, and no one's happy. No, everybody's stressed out because no one's had any real heart-to-heart connection and venting and communication with with people that they really care about. You know, they've been having to be in these masculine roles all day long and really suppressing in their feminine energy. So, you know, we think that showing our authentic self means that we can just cry and throw on all kind of stress to our partner, but in reality it ends up tearing the relationship apart, because when we come at our partner with a lot of heavy weight and stress because we've been producing testosterone in the workplace, and he's coming home with a lot of his own work stressors, there's no polarity there. Okay, so then we start to butt heads, and men feel really bad because you're not happy at home and he's putting the roof over your head, and all of this, like, this is all it all plays into the part of why the family unit ends up going mad and creates a lot of chaos in the family. So I think statistically, actually, there was studies done where women came home from workplace and their stress levels doubled, and men came home from the workplace and they had little to no added stress. So the way that our brains work is actually very different, because workplace was designed for men in mind, and it didn't have a lot of feminine aspects. Okay, only now that we have shifted into a more abundant world, shall I say, where women have become so much more independent, now we have the ability to create more of a feminine environment in the workplace. Okay, so mixing in men and women, and being able to collectively work all together. And I think there's just a lot of lack of awareness in how to communicate with men and women. You know, men and women communicate very differently. We think very differently. And so there's a lot of confusion on this topic, especially in the social media realm right now. So it gets very confusing for us to be able to feel masculine yet also feminine in the workplace. Okay, so yeah, husband, you know, he feels accomplished and like a hero for being at work all day and solving the problems, but then he comes back home after wife and children have also been in masculine environments, and not in their own comfort, because masculine provides the time and space, he provides the safety, and then feminine is soaking in his safety, is in his comfort, his zone that he has created of safety. And so when he comes home to that and they haven't been soaking in that safety that he has created, then he feels like a failure. Okay, so we really have to keep men in mind when we are deciding to take on these more masculine roles at work, and have a lot of self-awareness for the greater good of our own families. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into reasons tactics on how to remain in your feminine energy at work. Okay, number one, morning routine. A morning routine before work. It is so essential for us to wake up in the morning and slowly move through the morning. Okay, I know that when we're in school, you know, when we're young and we're having to get up in the morning really early as children, we hate that. I remember I hated getting up so early in the morning, having to be on this structured time schedule, which is masculine. You see how you're conditioned from the time that you go to school as a child to be masculine? Anyway, so we're trained to have to like wake up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, throw on clothes, and head out the door. When we're in school, that's what we used to do. I mean, I know that me and my whole family and all of my friends and peers at school were doing that. But once you get older and you want to reconnect with that feminine within you, you need to have a real morning routine. Okay? So soaking in all of life when you wake up. So waking up, if you have to wake up early, wake up earlier, maybe 2 or 3 hours before. Drinking your tea or coffee. There's a masculine way to drink tea and coffee, and there's a feminine way of drinking tea and coffee. And I know it sounds a bit unhinged, but bear with me here. The masculine way of drinking tea and coffee is, chugging a shot of espresso down your throat, chugging your coffee to get the high of the caffeine. That's the masculine way to go about it. Also, they're not using any creams, sugars, milks, flavors, syrups, all of that fancy dancy stuff that we girlies, Starbucks girlies love. No, the masculine way is just to pour a cup of coffee and chug it to get to the point of getting that caffeine high. Okay? And so the feminine way of drinking tea and coffee is to enjoy it. Sip it slowly, okay? You're using your senses to taste the flavor of the coffee or the tea, okay? You are sitting outside and you're watching the birds fly by and you're hearing the crickets chirp and the early morning rain or the early morning animals outside while you're sipping your coffee. You're drinking your coffee out of a cute mug. Maybe the mug has your name on it. Maybe it's decorated with flowers and it's pink. You are putting sugars and fancy syrups. Maybe you're making lattes. Maybe you're mixing it up in the blender. You are being creative with your coffee. So it's a very, very different dynamic when you are sipping and enjoying your coffee in a pleasurable way versus just trying to get the job done of getting the caffeine high. And so you can include that in your morning routine of sitting outside and drinking your coffee. Okay? I always recommend for you to wake up and pray. Pray to God. This is surrendering your day and surrendering all of your thoughts. Putting the burden of your emotions on God, on our creator and spiritual leader. This is going to help you fall into so much feminine energy because feminine energy does not worry. Feminine energy does not have a care in the world when she is in the safety of masculine energy. Okay, and so masculine energy is God. And we are the feminine that has to surrender to his authority, okay? And so praying in the morning and reading truth and reading scripture, hearing masculine men preach, this is going to put you into a lot of feminine energy in the morning, get you in your feelings, being in the body, in the feeling zone. That's going to be feminine energy, okay? So praying to God and asking him to soften your heart, asking him for strength to get you through the workday, and asking him for guidance in helping you maybe solve problems and get answers for things that you need to figure out. This is a big dropping of your ego in order to do this. So it takes a lot of strength to be able to admit your weaknesses. And this is something that I always say because it's just so powerful. And I want you to understand that real strength is being able to admit that you have weaknesses. Okay? So yes, 1000% create a morning routine. Soak in the day, soak in the morning. There's no better time than the morning time. I mean, your brain is freshly in the, I think it's the theta state, and so your ability to reprogram your subconscious mind is through the roof at that time. Early in the morning hours, that's when your brain is most malleable. So filling your mind with truth, filling your mind with things that you want to reprogram it to, affirmations and a lot of prosperity and wealth in your future. This is how you're going to train your subconscious mind in the early hours of the morning and all throughout the night. So it's really essential that you take time in the morning to do these things and to pray. Okay. So next way to remain in your feminine at work, dressing up before work. Okay. Now this is all going to play into your work day. So dressing up before work. Again, rolling out of bed, throwing on clothes. Even if you have to wear a uniform, this is not going to help you tap into your feminine energy. Dressing up before work is going to help you tap into your feminine sensuality. So you're going to have to, you're using your eyes to, seek out, like find the perfect outfit for you to wear. You're tapping into your feelings, because for us feminine women, every day for us in our hormonal cycle is different. Sometimes we feel like being edgier. Sometimes we feel like being more flirty and florally. Sometimes we want to be more athletic, we have so many different flavors to us. We have so many different archetypes. And so we're tapping into our bodies, if we happen to be on our menstrual cycle for the day, then we're not going to feel like wearing the most tight-fitting dress, okay? We're going to feel like wearing something that is less defining of our shape. I know that I get that way. I do not like to wear tight-fitting clothes when I am on my cycle. And so, we don't want to have to wear the same clothes every single day. And so utilizing the color palette, taking advantage of wearing colors, especially in the summer and springtime. If you have the option to wear whatever you want at work, I'm telling you, wearing dresses and skirt is going to instantly tap you into your ladylike feminine energy. You just can't get more feminine than that. Okay? So, yeah, you put those feminine senses to life and, ask yourself what you want to wear for the day. Ask yourself what color you're feeling like wearing, what looks best to you in your closet, doing your makeup, putting on your jewelry, adorning yourself with bracelets and earrings and all of this, fixing your hair. This is all going to help you tap into feminine energy before having to conquer the day. Okay, so it's going to really set a tone for you. And this is actually something that I used to do a lot in school. Is sometimes I would get up and just kind of throw clothes on, but most of the time I took the time out and did my hair and makeup. And even though I had to wear a uniform in school, I made sure to do my makeup. I used to play with my hair colors a lot. So, I always had fun with hair accessories, changing my hair colors, changing my makeup, any accessories that I could make my uniform more self-expressive and kind of add a bit of individuality in my uniform, then I would do it. I mean, I have gotten in trouble so many times at school just because I wasn't supposed to be wearing this particular thing, or, you know, maybe my hair wasn't the right color, or like I used to get piercings. So I was always finding a way to connect with my feminine energy when I was having to be so masculine in the school place, okay? So trust me, there are so many ways around it. Even if you have to wear a uniform, you just have to be really creative, okay? And you as a feminine woman are creative, and your creativity is all held in your lower womb space, okay? Next way to remain in your feminine energy at work: not getting caught up in women's drama and gossip at work, okay? If you work with a lot of different, you know, maybe you work with a lot of women, maybe you work with a lot of men. Well, let's start with women first. You know, women who are really stuck in their masculine ways, they tend to be really negative. They tend to be aggressive. They tend to be complaining. Just a lot of bad energy, okay? Sometimes they even gossip. But in order for you to remain feminine and elegant, do not get caught up in the drama that's happening in the workplace, okay? The gossip that's happening around, you know, floating around all of the employees. Feminine energy connects. Feminine energy communicates. It empowers. It forms community. Feminine energy does not compete. Feminine energy builds relations. And we have gotten so used to competing with men and with women in the workplace, in our everyday lives. We're living our life every day like this, of competing with everyone, and then we end up bringing that outside of the workplace. And we forgot how to build authentic relationships with people, you know, in our personal lives. Even with our friendships, we end up, you know, starting like gossiping with our friends about other people, and gossiping within our friend groups. And this is just, it's not feminine. We have to learn how to really intelligently communicate our wants and desires without, you know, hurting someone else, without being, you know, coming off in a toxic way to someone, without complaining, without throwing negative energy on someone. And we'll go ahead and get to that in maybe a separate video. But also being feminine around men. So maybe you do happen to work in a more masculine environment. Maybe you are surrounded by mostly men in your workplace. Maybe you are one of the few women that works in this particular setting. Well, actually consider yourself at an advantage. This is an advantage because you get to practice even more being feminine. Because to be honest with you, it is easier to practice your femininity around men than it is to practice it around feminine women, okay? And I know it sounds kind of unhinged, because we do need feminine energy in order to really help us be feminine. But as far as today, and a lot of women, they're very masculinized. And so you can really exercise that feminine energy if you are surrounded by a lot of men. So there's a way to be feminine to men without coming across as unprofessional. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, you don't want to be seductive. You know, you don't want to be that seductive siren feminine energy. You don't want to be that, you don't want to give off sexual innuendo, you know, to these men. you want to remain professional, but mysterious, because apart from being in the workplace, men are still going to be men. They're highly attracted to feminine energy, whichever archetype that you decide to tune on for a particular conversation or a particular job. But they're still going to be men, and we still have to know how to appeal and communicate with the male psychology. So you don't want to be unprofessional. You don't want to be offensive. Men actually are the ones that are at the disadvantage, because they are so ridiculed in the media for ever being one bit unprofessional to women. If a woman deems it as unprofessional, then the media blows it out of proportion and ridicules these men. So men are walking on eggshells with us. I mean, it's really, really sad. But I mean, you said, if a guy sends a woman a DM on Facebook and she doesn't like the way that he types, or she doesn't agree with what he says, or she offends him because, he offends her because he thinks that she is beautiful, she will go posting him all over social media and Facebook. And then it's going to ruin his reputation. I mean, it's the most bullshit thing. Excuse my French. It's the most bullshit thing I've ever seen. And I am so sick and tired of seeing that. And this is something that I have seen so many times in my whole life. Even when I was younger and social media had just become a thing. Women will just get angry and start blasting men all over social media. And this is disgusting. And I will do everything I can to speak up against it. Anyways, I got a little sidetracked there, because that is something that I'm very passionate about standing for the justice of men in that situation, and how men are walking on eggshells because of the ridicule from just people all over the world in the media. Okay, so it's just something that I'm very passionate about. Anyways, nonetheless, moving on. No spreading anyone's business in the workplace. Remain professional, as I was saying. Don't gossip, and give people trust in you. Allow people to come to you and maybe tell you even more personal things. Maybe just tell you general things about who they are in their life. People are always going to be craving and looking for that feminine energy that is inside of the masculine energy workplace. Okay, they're still looking for that bit of feminine left in the workplace. Okay. And so give people your trust. You want people to believe and know that you are trustworthy, because that is who you are. Okay? Next up, you are able to hear other people's points of views and ideas. Okay? Now this is going to come back to communication skills. But this is a really great one. Because in order to not be an aggressive masculine woman who is demanding things from other people and complaining about everything, you need to be able to hear other people's points of view without getting upset, without getting emotional, without getting triggered, without thinking that you have it all figured out and you know all the answers. You need to be able to hear everyone else's ideas on things. Okay, maybe you're in a job where everyone has to come together and put their ideas in a box per se, and then decide on which ideas are the best. But we never want to invalidate someone's idea. We want to be able to say, hey, this is a great idea. I see where you got your idea from. Tell me a little bit more about your idea. This is a really great communication tactic. Okay, so it's going to make other people men or women feel seen and feel heard, because that's what you need as a feminine woman. You need to feel seen, understood, and heard, because feminine energy opens. It is what is inside of feminine energy that allows her feminine to thrive. It's revealing what is inside of her that allows her to live in flow and embodiment of her feminine essence. Okay? So being able to hear what other people perceive to be true, even if you don't agree with it. Okay? Which brings me to the next point, which is validating men's leadership. Okay? Because, like I said, the workplace was created for men. Men are problem solvers by nature. They never wanted to compete with women. Women wanted that. And sometimes men know best. And I know it is so hard for us women to say that now. Okay? Men know best? What do you mean? Most of the time, if it has to do with business, if it has to do with analytics, being logical, solving problems, finding solutions, men know best. And do you know why? Because there's actually circuits in their brain that are created for them to be the problem solvers and find solutions. And so for us women, our brains are designed to have more of an emotional reaction over problems. And so it's easy for us to mix those emotions with finding solutions, okay? And so when we mix emotions and we mix solutions, sometimes it doesn't always give us the best results. So we have to understand and raise the awareness in the workplace as a whole that men are going to be more rational in their thinking brains. Okay, and not being offended by that, but just having the awareness that, yeah, sometimes they do know best. Okay, even if we don't agree with it, we can always offer our points of views on things. But sometimes we need to just surrender to their solutions and know that they've got it better than we do, because maybe we think that this is going to be a better solution just because our kid back at home was crying about his friend bullying him. Okay, do you see what I mean? Like, we get so caught up and blurred by our emotions, and then it gets in the way and blinds us to solving problems. Okay, so our brains are just constantly running. We're always thinking about the family. We're always thinking about what's going to happen at home. What are we going to do when we get home? And so it's hard for us to live presently. So that's something that we really have to practice too. Living presently and grounding ourselves. Okay? This is gonna start at home in the morning, grounding yourself. Literally, you can go outside and ground yourself to the earth and touch the earth with your bare feet, okay? This is going to give you a lot of connection to nature and connect you to your feminine energy, okay? So, let's see. Next up, creativity. Oh, this is a good one. How to be feminine at work. You want to tap into your creativity. I think we all have we all specialize in certain areas of being creative. You know, I particularly am more creative in the photo department. I love taking photographs. I can scout a location and say, like, this is a great location. You know, I can do something really cool and creative here. But other people might be more creative in decorating. Other people might be more creative in painting. So we all have our outlets of creativity. And so being able to tap into your creativity, even in your workplace, is going to help you to feel more alive in your feminine. And so let's say you have an office, okay? Let's say you work at a car dealership and you go in, you know, you're in the service department and everybody has their little cubicle of an office. And everybody has their names on their offices. Well, the way that you would be the way that you would be creative in that aspect is you would make your office your own. So you would put family photos on your desk. You would get a pink mouse pad, a pink mouse, decorate your keyboard, decorate your computer. You would maybe put your name tag on your desk in a cursive font and, put flowers on it. Maybe you like a certain artist. Maybe you would put a picture of your favorite artist, or find a cute quote to put on your office wall, okay? Maybe you would incorporate some pink and some prints and some florals and real plants. Bring that plant energy, that greenery into your office. This is feminine energy, okay? Because I know those office buildings just you're trapped in these four walls. That's boring enough. And then everything is literally gray and white, and it's just so boring and masculine. And where is the color? Where is the aliveness? So you can be creative and decorate your office so that it feels more at home to be in. Okay? And so there are so many ways that you can be creative in that sense and decorate your office, and even, of course, decorating yourself. There are ways. You just get creative with it and think a little with your feminine brain, not your masculine brain, but your feminine right brain. Okay? Bring the self-expression. Okay, next way to remain feminine in the workplace: being vulnerable and soft. Having compassion for people, not demanding, no demanding from anyone, whether man or woman. Okay? Having compassion for people just in general. Like I said, people are always going to be searching for that feminine energy in such a masculine place. Even men are going to be searching for that bit of feminine energy even in the workplace. Now, in the 50s, let's say, where it was only men working in the work environment, they had to rely on coming back home to that feminine energy because there was no feminine women in the workplace. It was just a bunch of men. It was just a bunch of men doing their thing and being hard and working and, solving problems. So they didn't even have a bit of feminine energy. But now they're at a luxury because they have that option. And so they're always going to be searching for that bit of feminine energy in the workplace. And so if you can be that light in the workplace, then that puts you at an advantage. And it's honoring yourself. It's honoring your workplace, okay? It's giving your workplace a better reputation. So you want to have compassion for other people and for things that are maybe going on in their own personal lives, okay? You are motherly by design. You have an instinctual nature of being a mom. It's a beautiful part of you. It's soft, it's feminine. It shows empathy and compassion for other people. So really being able to tap into that motherly instinct when it is necessary, and even just all the time if you can. There's an art to this, and you really have to use your feminine guidance and intuition to know when to be motherly, and when you can really bring that forward. But it's in there, okay? So if someone in your workplace has made a mistake, maybe they didn't clean the right way, or maybe they made it to work on, late. Maybe they didn't turn in a project at the right time. Maybe they are dealing with a lot at home, and so maybe their mood is a bit off, especially for women. Women, we're emotional creatures. And so sometimes we go into work and we just bring a lot of baggage that's happening in our personal life. And so we just have to, we can't take that personally, okay? We want to be able to have the understanding that they're dealing with their own problems, and that's okay, and we can just show compassion for them, and just let them know energetically. It doesn't even have to be said, that you are there for them. Okay, just giving a simple smile, energetically being present and listening, that's automatically gonna calm someone else down. Okay, because you will know when you are in the presence of a feminine woman. You will know. Okay, you just feel so calm and at ease in her presence. And so you can show up as that feminine woman. So, get into the heart. Get into the heart, even in your workplace. Learn that perfect communication of being in the heart while also being in the head. Masculine energy is hard and tough, and feminine energy is soft. Okay? Well, if we think about it in terms of intimate parts, masculine is hard, okay, and tough, and then goal-oriented. Okay, he gets hard, he stays hard. Okay, that's when he becomes masculine. He gets hard and he stays hard. That's when he becomes his most masculine, testosterone-driven self. But feminine is so soft, and she's so easy to get inside. Okay, because you can just, she's so soft and lubricated that you can get inside of her so easily. Okay, so that is feminine energy. And so when you are able to be in the heart and carry that heart onto the sleeve, onto the upper body in the masculine, you're just going to form so much more of a healthy, harmonious relationship with your coworkers. So, feminine energy has always formed community for thousands and thousands of years. Women have always, collectively came together in groups. They have never been alone. They never raised children alone. They have always come together in groups and communicated with other feminine women, while men kind of went off and did their own thing. They stayed home and did homemaking. They, nurtured children, all of these feminine things, while the men went off and did independent things. Okay? So form a light energy in a community, with your coworkers, and they are going to, you would almost guarantee that you would not lose your job in that sort of environment, because you're creating these authentic relationships. Okay, because at the end of it all, we are all looking for authenticity in our lives, in our workplace, in our relationships. All of these ways we are looking for that authenticity. Okay, because feminine is loving. So bringing gifts for your coworkers on their birthdays, on Christmas, writing them a card if they're going through a hard time, if there was a death in one of their families, baking cookies just because you want to. That is so feminine. That is uber feminine. I promise you can you can get away with these little things. Okay, this is going to show so much of the authenticity and humility in you. So it doesn't even matter if you're making $1.2 million a year in your corporate office. Okay, baking cookies for your coworkers. Feminine, they love you. Everybody wants to be around you because you just know how to be motherly and take care of other people. Okay, it's a robotic system in the workplace. Nobody wants to be treated as a robot. Okay, they're having to be robots in the workplace, in the environment. So we don't want to treat them as these robots that we're all pretending to be. Okay, and last thing I'm going to say is how to be feminine in the workplace, asking for help. Now this kind of goes back to being vulnerable and soft. It takes a lot of letting down your ego in order to ask for help. Okay, surrendering to the idea that you don't have it all figured out. You don't know all the answers, that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to let men help you carry the, heavy buckets. Let men take down the things that are too tall for you to reach. The men open the jars for you in the kitchen, okay? Asking for help. That is the most feminine thing that you can do. It's depending on someone else to give you what you need. So let down that guard and just, it's okay if you don't have all the answers. Feminine energy is soft and she is able to show her weaknesses. That's what makes her strong. Aha, that is a great quote, right? What makes a feminine woman strong is letting down her guard and showing her weaknesses. Okay, so exercising the habit of asking for help when it is appropriate, when it is necessary. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off now. I've been on here for quite a while, but I'm so happy that I got to go over these things. I hope that you have found this very helpful and you have taken this in as a guide in your work life. So that way when you go to work tomorrow, you will have these things to remember to guide you through your work day. And with some delicate time and patience and practice, this is going to come second nature to you. You won't even have to have this all written down and refer back to my video. Okay? It's going to come second nature to you to remain in your feminine energy in the workplace. And then with that, that's going to advantage you when you come home, because you're not going to be carrying all this added stress from your work environment. You're going to be just kind of getting more into a more relaxed feminine state, okay, when you come back home. But you're not going to be all stressed out and, overwhelmed and just crazy, adding all that extra baggage from your workday, okay? Because the last thing that you want to do is carry that home to your partner and your family. You want them to get the best of you, not the worst of you. Just because you're intimate with your family and they know who you are, we should always strive to be our best with them because we love them the most. We should want them to see our best, not our worst. Everyone needs to get our best, okay? It's okay for us to let down our guards to our family back at home, because they will love us anyway. But that doesn't mean that needs to be the default setting. We want to come to them in the most stress-free way that we can. Okay, this is what's going to help our relationships to prosper at the end of it all. Okay, so anyways, if you made it through, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have found this helpful. Make sure you follow me on all my platforms. I have all different content on all different platforms. I have a webpage, carlytherelationshipguru.com. I have 10 signs of feminine men on that webpage as an e-guide for you to purchase. I will also be coming out with a dating course soon, so make sure you go follow me on all my platforms. Instagram is where I am most active. And with all that, I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.